Hello there. Today I want to talk about market structure because whether you like it or not, you are going to be seeing this thing playing out on the chart every now and then. You understand what is actually market structure? So this is simple definition here. The market structure is a concept in technical analysis that signals a potential change in direction of a trend. You understand? Mark that word trend. It occurs when the price stops following its current trend pattern and begins performing the opposite pattern, right? So basically, a structural shift happens when let's say, a bullish trend all of a sudden change from a bullish trend to a downward trend, or the other way around, like having the bearish trend changing to a bullish trend. You understand? So, and price typically has a pattern that it follows. So, let me show you guys how this thing is, how price normally moves. You understand? For a typical downtrend, you will see the price performing a series of lower low. You understand? The downtrend like this, you see lower low. You understand? Lower high. You understand? Lower low, lower high, continuously lower low, lower high. You understand? That is how to know if a trend is in a down trend. You understand? Lower high. You understand? Lower low, lower high. Continuously, this is a lower low, right? Another lower low, lower high. You understand? Lower high here. You understand? So that is how to know if a particular market is in a downtrend. You understand? You will know from the structure and from the subsequent break of structures. Look at this structure. Any low that have been formed before now, the market will always take out that low and create even more lower lows. You understand? That is how to know that your price is in a downtrend. So your duty as a trader, if you come to your chart, you don't want to be looking for where to buy or where to sell. First of all, ask yourself this question: where is the price heading to? So if you can answer that question effectively, you can easily tap into the chart and help yourself, you understand, by knowing the direction of the market, right? You can easily know the direction of price, right? So make sure you always follow the pattern, you understand? That is the most important thing. So follow the pattern, take the pattern into consideration. Once you know your direction, if the price is having a market structure shift, you can easily identify it because you know the preceding structure. So then now we move into the structure, market structure shift proper. In this place, this is the place we call the market structure shift. You understand? Why do we call it market structure shift? You understand? It is because before now the market had been creating higher, lower lows, you understand? And all of a sudden, this was the last low that the market created. This place was the last low, and the market took it out. There's a liquidity sweep, the last liquidity sweep, and boom, the market moved all the way towards the upside, taking out this previous high, this previous lower highs. You understand? All the lower highs here have been taken out completely. So the market has created what we call higher highs. You understand? To even confirm it further, you discover that the market cooled down towards the downside again, creating what we call higher low, and boom, it creates another massive higher high again. So at this point, you have no business with the downtrend anymore because the market has already shown you that, look, I am now in an uptrend. I am no longer in the downtrend like before. You understand? So that shows that the market is in a complete uptrend because of the market structure shift that happened here. And what give rise to the structure shift is this particular leg of the can of the price towards the upside, taking out all these previous lower highs. You understand? All these previous lower highs, the market take them out completely. And on the moment it pulls back, some people like to enter from this place, which is the riskier method of entering. But some people that are conservative, they want to enter from the second leg, you understand? Which give them the final confirmation. It could be a place of, it could be tap, it could be a place that the market tap into the other block, or it could be a fair value gap, you understand? So some people believe in taking the second leg of this setup, you understand? And as a trader, as a trader and a mentor, I will equally advise you to go for the second leg of the trade, you understand, which is very, very important for your trading setup, you understand. If you want to stay in the game for the long term, you want to equally keep this thing into consideration. You want to be trading from the second leg because it gives you the confirmation that truly the market has changed its structure from the downtrend, or maybe from the bullish trend, as the case may be, if you are talking about the bullish movement, you understand. But in this case, the preceding move before the move towards the upside is in the downtrend, you understand. So let me go to my chart and show you guys that this thing does work. You can see it on your chart, you can spot it at any moment in time. And before I do that, make sure you subscribe to this channel wherever you are watching us from. And if you want to join um, our our community and learn and grow yourself, you can equally join us there and help yourself and grow as well. So let's continue. So if you let me go to my board, to my USD, right? You can see clearly this is Euro USD. And before now, look at this particular example right here. What can you see? What is the price doing here? You understand? You can see clearly that before the price start pushing towards the upside for this particular movement, you can clearly see that the price have been forming series of lower lows. You understand? Lower high, lower low, lower high. You understand? Lower low, lower high. So the market has been in a consistent downtrend, printing lower low, lower high. And all of a sudden, after this particular last low, what do you see? The market take out the liquidity signal. And one thing I want you to understand is that before the market always go for that final structure shift, there's always that last liquidity that is being taken out, you understand? So that this particular moment, you see that the Euro USD take out this particular low, so making it our last liquidity sweep here. You understand? So the final change of structure happened around this place because this was the final lower, this was the lower high that the market took out. Look at it. This is the lower high here. Look at it. Look at it. This is the lower high. So the moment the market goes up towards the upside and take break out this level, it has become a structure shift. So you no longer be thinking of selling anymore because look, the market have a massive boom run to the upside. You understand? And if you look at this particularly, you will discover that the market tap into what we call a breaker block. You understand? So if you are taking this, because you have to take this place as your, some people are taking it as their order block, wanting to buy to sell from that level. But look at what the market did. The market pierced through that level towards the upside, and the moment the market tap into it again, the moment the market tap into it again, being the second move. The moment the market want to make the second move, look at what the market did. The market exactly tap into that breaker block. Look at this beautiful breaker block here. The market tap into it with a pin bar or maybe a hammer. And boom, look at what the market did. Move massively towards the upside again. You understand? So if you want to take structure shift effectively, you want to go for the second leg. But if you are the type that can equally use the last liquidity sweep to spot a a final change of character, or maybe a market structure shift, you can equally go for that as well. But if you're a conservative type, you can use your second leg, the second leg of the after the massive structure shift, the second leg you can now enter from the second leg towards the upside. You can see that this is going to be a nice trade if you were to enter from this place. You understand? If you were to enter from the second candle here after that pin bar, it is going to be a straight TP. Put your stop loss a little bit below that last candle. You understand? You understand? So it is going. If you don't want to even, you can just drop it a little bit. You understand? It's going to equally hit your stop loss. Maybe 20 pips stop loss, 21 pips stop loss, and boom, you are already in profit of, let's say, uh, uh, 80 pips. You understand? So it's a nice setup. That is the best way to find structure shift. You understand? I can go on and on and show you another example of where to find structure shift in the market. You understand? Look at another example right here. This was Euro USD, right? This was a Euro USD. Um, this was Euro USD. Let me go further and look for another example, another beautiful example. In this case, I want to use a downtrend now. I want to use a downtrend to show you guys another beautiful structure shift here. Like Okay, look at this beautiful example here. If you look at this price critically, you discover that the market is forming a series of higher highs. You understand? Before now, the market moving for higher highs, higher low. You understand? Continuously forming that level until it reaches this point. Look at what the market did. The moment it reaches this point, the change of character happened exactly at this place. Look at it. Or the market structure shifts happen here. You understand? The moment it breaks this level towards the downside, it was a nice confirmation for you to go for the entry, you understand? If you don't want to go from use this place, you can equally use the upper side of the candle, you understand? And look, the market pushed towards the downside. Sometimes after a market structure shift, you may not likely have another opportunity for the market to pull back again. It is going to be a straight away push away, you understand? And that being said, you may another thing that I want you to know is that you might miss out some of your trade setup because you may not have the liberty of waiting for price to touch back into this level. Sometimes the market will not retrace after a major structure shift like this. The market will not retrace back into any of the beautiful order block or maybe breaker block that you are expecting the price to touch into. You understand? You understand? So, but at least at the end of the day, it pull back a little bit. If you were to use this breakup of this last candle here, right? This last candle, let's say we are using the rejection of this last candle. Let me pull it very well. Let's say the rejection of this last candle here. So if you are using the rejection of this last candle, you will discover that the market equally went back and tapped into the level again, even after the major structure shift here. The market returned a little bit, you understand, and touch into it before it start pushing towards the downside. But that, yes, that being said, that is how to find a major structure shift in the market. I can go on and on. Before any trend, any major shift in the market, you see the market giving you that clue before it will shift finally to any direction. Look at this beautiful example again. You can see that the market has been in a clear downtrend, you understand, right? The market has been a clear downtrend. And all of a sudden, this was the last higher low, lower low, I mean lower high. I mean, this was the last lower low that the market created, lower high, I mean, the market created, and boom, the market pushed back again, take out this final level, you understand? This was the market shift for us here, you understand? Because some of you may be thinking that after the market take at this level, uh, it will likely go for a sell, but it fails to go for another sell. So at this point, it has now become a complete structure shift for us. So you can now enter from the second leg here. And this is the second leg. This is that second leg that you are going to be waiting for the price to tap into it, right? So that is how to do this thing in a logical way. You don't just want to jump into the market and be doing things randomly. You understand? When the market structure shift, we enter on the say on the second leg. You understand? The second, what I mean by the second leg is that after the movement that caused the price to break the previous lower, I mean a higher lower high, right? You want to wait for the price to return back, at least to touch any of the other block. You understand? At this juncture, this guy here is going to be the candle that are going to be used as the reference or the other block. You understand? This particular point. If you go down to maybe 1 hour time frame or 4 hour time frame, I'm going to see exactly that it's going to be a perfect match, and it is going to be a candle that has a fair value gap, right? So you want to make sure you are doing things logically. You don't just want to jump into the chart and be doing things randomly, right? Look at another beautiful example right here. Look at what the price did here. This is the higher high the market created. Pull back again, you understand, a higher low, and boom, another higher high. Before the market start changing towards the downside, it equally showed the structure shift here. And this is the structure shift that the market did here. The market take out the structure shift happened around this level. You understand? This was the structure shift here. You understand? So at this point, the market is no longer in an uptrend because this previous high, you understand, was not respected. So had it been the previous higher low, I mean, had it been the market respected this previous higher low, you understand, and stop at the moment it stop at this level and start pushing towards the upside, we would have taken it as another buy to the upside. But the moment it fails around this place because the market break this previous higher low. You understand? This higher low was taken out, so the market violated it, and that exactly, my friend, give us our structure shift here there. So you want to wait for the market to pull back into any of the other block again, and that is what the market did here. All these cluster of candle are used as the other block, and the market respected it. All these cluster of candle are used as the other block because the market pushed exactly back into this other block, and what you see start pushing towards the downside again. Right? So that is how to find a major structural shift in the market. So this is where I'll draw the curtain. If you want to learn more, you can just join us on the other end and learn from us.